Listen to this. Okay, you say, why are they telling it? I want to tell you, it's a principle. It is a pledge. It's a spiritual pledge, meaning Joe Biden has accepted it. And so by the principle of the court, he must now go and let it out. He must say it. It's registered in the spirit that this is the pledge. So if he were to come into office, there are things that he will not be able to do or say because it is pledged. You don't have a voice. You are not the one. It's not your administration. It's a Harris administration. So it's Harris we're going to be talking to. His own is to say, okay. So he's supposed to lead the way into the government, and in comes Harris. Now, I want you to listen to this. Very important. Biden is supposed to lead the way into the government. In comes Harris. You know, if we don't pay attention to prophecy, they pass us by, and then we wake up and say, why, what's going on? Now, there are many who will be amazed that I actually said this to them, because I wonder were they listening. Now, I want to remind you, this was before the elections, all right? And I told them that I spoke with certain people in 2019, and I told them that there is a plan to rig the United States elections the next year, 2020. And I said, what we have to do is to pray that the other side will get to know about the strategy and do something about it. Okay, keep listening. We have to pray that the other side will see this and not only leak it out, they can fight it. Now, some of the games are really out. In fact, they're not even hiding some of the things they're planning to do. There's some other things. So that's one reason they're not campaigning a lot. It's not about COVID. They wanted to stop the other guys from campaigning because they don't care about your vote. They know they can get something counted anyway. But if you pray, you can change this thing. That's the reason for the uprising of riots and protests and so on and so forth. You think those things are happening by themselves? Who's sponsoring them? Who's paying them? Some of them have given their confessions. I've warned. It's a warning. At different times, the deep state will support any side where it can have its candidate. So it's about what the deep state wants. And the deep state is about what Lucifer wants, because they are pledged in allegiance to Lucifer. Look at the nuances. Last week, I want you to look at the nuances. Last week, Kamala Harris, the vice presidential candidate for Joe Biden, I told you about the Fabian socialism. And I explained to you three things: leak it, deny it, hit hard. She was making a speech with a clever supposed mistake. She called it the Harris-Biden government administration with Joe Biden as president. Where was it ever heard that the vice presidential candidate's name came first in any address? She called it the Harris-Biden administration. In fact, she actually said Harris administration. Then she seemed to correct it, but it was a leak out. She called it the Harris administration, then corrected it as Harris-Biden administration with Joe Biden as president. Guess what? A short while later, Joe Biden himself makes a speech and calls it Harris-Biden administration. You think they were mistaken? No. It's what I told you. Lick it. Because this guy, in the spirit, things are happening in the spirit. I told you on a certain day, I said, what is happening right now in the United States? I said, it's a Trojan horse. The next day, President Trump called Joe Biden a Trojan horse. And somebody sent me a message, said, Pastor Chris, I think Trump is listening.